Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. All right, everybody. I am back. Good to be back. Do want to do what I do a lot this time of year, which is talk portal. And I do want to talk Kentucky because it's interesting. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I did say on this show, I said, it's very strange to me how quiet things are at Kentucky. We've had a few stay or go decisions. Oscar Tshiebwe, we know he's coming back. We know a couple guys are testing the draft waters. Ty Washington is in. The Shaden Sharp saga won't end. But it's been a pretty quiet spring at Kentucky, and it's interesting for a few reasons. One, clearly some shakeup and change needs to be made after a disappointing loss to St. Peter's. But then two, on top of that, Kentucky was among the most active programs in the portal at this time last offseason. First year of the one-time transfer, Kentucky super aggressive. They go out and get Kellen Grady. They go out and get Severe Wheeler. They go out and get C.J. Frederick. They go out and sign Ty Washington, who wasn't a transfer but was part of a busy spring for Kentucky. But this year, it's been pretty quiet in the Bluegrass in terms of what Kentucky basketball is doing for next year. Again, a couple stay or go decisions, but other than that, very quiet for a program that you know can go out and get high-profile transfers. Well, on Wednesday, we finally got some movement from Kentucky in the transfer portal. That's because that was when Antonio Reeves, 6'6" wing, played the last couple seasons at Illinois State. He committed to, drumroll please, well, I kind of just gave it away. He committed to Kentucky. So big get for Kentucky, one of the top players in the portal, I believe. Let's discuss, let's debate, and let's conversate, because to me this is big. First of all, I'll say this. Very interesting recruitment if you followed this Antonio Reeves thing. Enters the portal like immediately following the season. His coach Dan Mueller at Illinois State is fired, immediately goes in the portal, immediately has a ton of interest, and immediately is linked to Kentucky. From Chicago, one of Kentucky's longtime assistant coaches, Chin Coleman, is a longtime Chicago guy. He clearly fits a spot of need, and so you think he's just coming to Kentucky, sign, seal, deliver if you want him, and that was the way that it was trending for a while. A few weeks ago, Antonio Reeves takes a visit to Kentucky. Everybody assumes that a commitment is imminent. And then what happens? We start to get reports that he's getting a little bit of cold feet, that maybe he's thinking about other schools, that maybe he wasn't totally happy with the role that was presented to him. One thing I will say, having talked to some people across college basketball this spring, that is one thing about John Calipari. He is brutally honest. He is not going to sell you a bill of goods, come here, be a star, if he doesn't think you're going to be the I don't want to say that, but what I will say is what he does a very good job of is laying out, this is how we envision you, this is the role that we think you're going to play, and this is what we want you to do. It has, I don't want to say turned off some recruits, but I think there's been some recruits that had interest in Kentucky until they realized what their actual role would be for next year's Kentucky team, and some of them just said, thanks, but no thanks, I'm good, I'm going to look other places. Well, Antonio Reeves appeared to be that way. As late as Tuesday, we heard he might not be coming to Kentucky at all and maybe leaning towards Oregon. Instead, less than 24 hours later, Antonio Reeves commits to Kentucky, and it's for one simple reason. He said he wants to compete at the highest level in college basketball, told Paul Biancardi he wants to compete for a national championship, something he will be able to do at Kentucky. Now, in terms of his game, I'll tell you this, I really like his game. And it's interesting because what I would say is I'm one of these guys, I am hesitant to anoint a lot of these mid-major guys that are stepping up a level. I don't want to name names, but there's 3, 4, 5 guys I've seen in this cycle that have entered the portal that you look at some of these transfer ranking lists and they're ranked in the top 5, the top 10. I say, I just don't see it. And talking to people in college basketball, they say the same thing. Hey, that guy's good, but he's going to be a role player. That guy's good, but he'll be the 7th man, first, second, third guy off the bench at a major power school. The one thing I could say about Antonio Reeves, though, he won't be a star, but I believe that his size and his athleticism might take him a minute to get comfortable at the high major level. But once he gets comfortable, I think because of his size, because of his athleticism, because of his length, I think he has a chance to be really, really good at Kentucky. This is a guy that last year averaged 20 points per game on 39% three-point shooting at Illinois, and I believe that he is coming to Kentucky to fit a very specific role. I'll say this, I didn't think Kentucky needed a ton over these final few weeks. They still need a piece or two, which we'll get into in a minute. I didn't think they needed a ton, but the one thing I did think they needed was one more scorer on the wing, and that's exactly who this guy is. As a matter of fact, in some ways, and I hate to say it because it makes me kind of sad to think about it. He reminds me, when you watch him, kind of the late Terrence Clark, the player who played at Kentucky last year, who unfortunately tragically died a little over a year ago. But Terrence Clark and really Antonio Reeves, big, athletic, three-level score, 39% three-point shooting for Antonio Reeves. I really like the fit. And so let's get into that fit because, like I said, I really thought he was kind of the missing piece for Kentucky. Now you start to look at this roster, I kind of like how the pieces are coming together. For people who aren't super familiar with Kentucky's roster, maybe you are if you're listening to this segment, but what you need to know is pretty straightforward. First of all, point guard, it is set. It appears as though, for all intents and purposes, Severe Wheeler is coming back. And I know he struggled down the stretch, and I know he wasn't great, and I know he's not perfect, but this was a guy that led the SEC in assists last year at 7 per game. Now, he turns the ball over too much. That's something that he needs to work on in the offseason. He also needs to make sure to stay healthy. But when he is healthy, he's a really good college point guard. So he's coming back. In the backcourt, you also have C.J. Frederick, three-point marksman, 46% career three-point shooter at Iowa. Was hurt this year, did not play, will be healthy next year. You have Cason Wallace, a McDonald's All-American who's kind of a combo guard, can play 1-2, really probably better off the ball. Antonio Reeves can play a little bit of 1, but I think he's better off the ball as well. So the backcourt looks like it's in pretty good shape. And then the front court, I like how the front court's coming together too. Obviously, the big story there, Oscar Tshiebwe, may have heard of him, National Player of the Year. He is coming back. And so when he returned, I said, look, once you get Oscar back, you're going to be in the mix with anybody in college basketball. And now adding Antonio Reeves there, it makes it that much more important. Round Oscar Tshiebwe in the front court, you have Damian Collins, former McDonald's All-American, shot blocker, rim protector. You got some nice pieces on the wing. Jacob Toppin, I would expect to be back. Keon Brooks could possibly be back. Chris Livingston, by the way, McDonald's All-American as well. And so you look at this roster, all of a sudden, although it has been a quiet spring at Kentucky, I actually kind of like how all the pieces fit together. And so I'm not going to sit here on, this show and say to guarantee anything, because I don't think that's what Kentucky fans want right now. They have been guaranteed enough through the years. They just want to see this team on the court. But when I look at the pieces, I actually like how they all fit together. Oscar's just a double-double machine down low. You have your point guard in Severe Wheeler. Obviously, look, I think at this point we can all agree. I know there's buzz that Shaedon Sharpe could possibly not be eligible for the NBA draft. Shaedon Sharpe's going to the NBA. I will be stunned upon stunned if he is back. But you have Severe Wheeler. You have the shooting from C.J. Frederick. You have Oscar Tshiebwe down low. You have Jacob Toppin, who I think could be a breakout star next year. You have the 2 McDonald's All-Americans. The one thing you were missing, though, was a wing scorer, another shooter on the wing. That's what Antonio Reeves provides. Now, in terms of what else for this offseason, I do still think if you kind of look at Kentucky's roster, they probably need one more piece in the backcourt. A lot of you have asked me, I probably got 3 or 4 tweets, questions, DMs. How much more aggressive is Kentucky in the portal? And I'll say this, I think they can be choosy, be picky, but I think they go for one more kind of wing guard-ish type player. If you look at the roster that I just mentioned, it really only has 4 guards at this particular moment. Severe Wheeler, C.J. Frederick, Cason Wallace, the freshman, and now this kid Antonio Reeves. Well, C.J. Frederick has an injury history. Severe Wheeler has an injury history. I hope I'm wrong. I hope both these guys are 100% healthy and are great. Not wishing any ill will upon anybody. But I do think you need one more guy. And so obviously Kentucky is being very aggressive in the portal. The kid Baylor Shireman from South Dakota State is obviously the big name that every Kentucky fan wants. 6'6", 6'7". He's kind of a playmaker on the wing, not super athletic, but averaged 18 a game at South Dakota State. That kid cut his list to 10 on Wednesday. Kentucky is in the mix there. I don't know at this point if there's a feel for if there is a favorite or not in his recruitment, but he would be a great last piece. And I would just say this. More scoring, more athleticism on the wing in the backcourt, I think, is the last piece to this Kentucky roster. Try to put the scholarship numbers together in my head. I believe it's, You have the 4 guards that I just mentioned. You have Jacob Toppin, you have Lance Ware, you have Oscar Tshiebwe, you have Chris Livingston, you have one more big guy that I'm missing, Damian Collins. That's 9. Obviously, Keon Brooks could potentially come back. That's 10. So the front court feels pretty set. The wing feels pretty set. It feels like you need one more guard. Is it Baylor Shireman? Is it somebody else? I do not know. But my guess is that Kentucky adds one more piece. But I'll tell you this. They needed another piece in the backcourt. They need another scorer. They need another shooter. And they got it on Wednesday with Antonio Reeves. I love the fit. And this only solidifies to me what I said when Oscar Tshiebwe returned. This is a top 10 team. Would love to add another piece. Don't think they'll get Shaedon Sharpe back, but I believe in this team, and I believe that with Oscar Tshiebwe, with Severe Wheeler, now with 2 nice guards on the perimeter to play besides them, really 3 with Case and Wallace, some nice wings as well. This is going to be, once again, a very, very good team. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor. Make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube channel. Also, make sure to download the Aaron Torres Podcast. Available 3 times per week on all your favorite podcast platforms.